Can I ask one favor?
Thinking about
Oh, the last 5 or 10 minutes?
Oh, then you'll start.
It's way better to let us know then. Okay.
Pass me by one summer day, flash those big brown eyes my way. Who I wanted you forevermore. Now, baby, I'm not one that gets around. Swear my feet stuck to the ground, and though I never did meet you before, I said hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart. I said, sweet Mary Lou, I'm so in love with you. I'm in love with Mary Lou, Mary Lou. That we never part, so hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart, goodbye, heart.
Saw your lips, I heard your voice. Believe me, I just had no choice. What horses couldn't make me stay away.
Every day, bum, bum, bum.
Thought about a moonlit night, arms around you good and tight. That's all I need to see for me to stay.
Hey, hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart. Sweet Mary Lou, I'm so in love with you. I'm in love with Mary Lou, Mary Lou. We never part, so hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart, goodbye, heart. Hello, Mary Lou, I'm in love with you, yes, hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart. Right from the start, I said hello, Mary Lou, goodbye, heart.
Thank you. We are Quattro. We are, can you hear me? We are Quattro. We're a barbershop quartet. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me okay? And you may be wondering why we sang that song, because you're thinking it may not be a barbershop tune. In 2019, barbershop choruses sing all kinds of songs, and as long as they sing them in the barbershop style, it's okay. So we'll be doing some older songs, about 100 years old, some newer songs, some duets, and even a solo. And we felt this next song was fitting for the occasion, because any day that we can sing for you good folks is certainly one fine day.
One fine day, you look at me, and you will know what I was meant to be. One fine day, you're gonna want me for your God. Those arms I long for will open wide, and you'll be proud to have me right by your side. One fine day, you're gonna want me for your God. Yeah, though I know you're the kind of girl who only wants to run around, I'll be waiting in something Whatever you want to do for your God. Though I know you're the kind of girl who only wants to run around, I will be waiting, and someday, darling, you'll come to me when your world is turning upside down. Oh, shimmy, one fine day, you're gonna want me for your God.
Okay, as Peter mentioned, we do barbershop. We also do what they call doo-wop. It's a style of music called doo-wop. I don't know why they call it doo-wop. It seems a strange.
Excuse me, Rob.
Yeah.
The song we just sang had the words doo-wop in it. The song we're about to sing has the word doo-wop in it.
Oh, okay.
Seen a pattern here?
Yeah, okay. If you say so. All right. Anyway, this next song was a bit of a parody of doo-wop songs. Some of you might remember it from way back in the early 60s.
I'd like to thank the guy who wrote the song that made my baby fall in love with me. Who put the bop in the bop, 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 bop? Who put the ram in the ram, ding dong? Who put the bop in the bop, shoo bop, shoo bop? Who put the dip in the dip, 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 dip? Who was that man? I want to shake his hand. He made my baby fall in love with me. Every word went right into her heart, and every time we're singing, ram-a-lam-a-lam-a-ram-a-lam-a ding dong, she said we never have to part, never part. So who put the bump on the bump, the bump, the bump? Who put the ram in the ram-a-lam-a ding dong? Who put the bump on the bump, she bop, she bop? Who put the dip in the dip, 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 dip? Who was that man? I'd like to shake his hand. He made my baby fall in love with me. Boom, boom, yeah, each time that we're alone. Boogity, 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 shoot. Sets my baby's heart all aglow, aglow. And every time we dance to dip, 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 she always says she loves me so, loves me so. Who was that man? I'd like to shake his hand. He made my baby fall in love with me. Boom, boom, yeah.
Darling. Bump, 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 bump. And my honey, ram-a-lam-a ding dong, forever. And when I say dip, 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 you know I mean it from the bottom of my boogity, 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 shoe.
Who was that man? I'd like to shake his hand. He made my baby fall in love with me. Boom, boom, yeah, he made my baby fall in love with me. Bum, 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 bum.
You may have heard of a singer called John McDermott. He's very popular in our household because my wife is in love with him. And we've been to a number of his concerts. And one time he was singing, he turned to the audience and he said, if you know the words to the song, I'm happy for you. What he meant was, I'm John McDermott, superstar, and I'm so good I don't want anyone singing along. Now, fortunately, we're not that good, and we welcome you singing along. And in fact, this next song is a very old barbershop tune called Let Me Call You Sweetheart, and we invite you to sing, and in fact, we have the words if anyone needs them. Please put up your hand.
Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. Let me hear you whisper that you love me too. Keep the love light glowing in your eyes so true. Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. In love with
Since you've all got the lyrics, we'll do that one again later. Okay. Now, as Peter mentioned, we are a barbershop quartet, and people might not realize a barbershop is actually a particular kind of music with particular rules. If you don't follow the rules, you're not singing barbershop. The important thing is there's no instruments, so we sing what they call a cappella, so there's nobody playing any instruments, so it's just voices. And there are always four parts, and it's always four men it's usually four men or four women. So we will, and what I'd like to do right now is to demonstrate the four parts of barbershop so you can see how it all comes together. So first of all, usually the tallest member of the group is called the lead, and he sings the melody line. So here's the melody line for a very common barbershop song.
My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows.
Okay, and singing above the lead is what we call our tenor, and he's usually singing in a high, very high voice, sometimes in falsetto. So here's our tenor, Peter.
My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows.
Okay, now we put those two parts together, we get a very nice duet.
My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows.
Right. lovely, doesn't it? Okay, now at the other end of the sonic spectrum from the tenor is our bass. Our bass Andre is going to sing just the bass part for that same little snatch.
My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows.
Okay, so we're almost there. So we put those three parts together, we get a very nice trio. Here we go.
My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows.
And very quickly, the fourth part that really makes it barbershop, as far as I'm concerned, is the baritone part. The baritone part sounds very weird. I like to say we get the note that's left over when all the good ones are taken. My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so here are the four parts together. See if you can pick out the individual parts we give you.
My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare with my wild Irish rose, Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday for my sake she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose. My rose, the bloom from my wild Irish rose. Wild Irish rose.
Okay, so we've been given the signal that it's time to cut the Father's Day cake in the middle there. So here's another very traditional barbershop song. And then after that, we're going to change the pace a bit and have a duet.
Down our way, both night and day. You know everybody and they all know you. And even policemen say, how do you do? Pals by the score and gals galore. And that old gang of mine, they sang Sweet Adeline. Down our way, down our way.
Thank you. I promised no instruments, but I lied. We often get requests to do singing valentines, singing telegrams for people, and recently we got a call to do that, and it turned out there's only 2 of us available to do it. So Peter and I decided to just do it as a duet, and they asked for this particular Elvis song because what it was a guy who wanted to propose to his girlfriend. She was completely unaware of all this, so we kind of snuck up behind her on the balcony of this high-rise in downtown Toronto, and he managed to get her sort of peering off into the distance looking for something. And while she was peering, we all snuck up behind. She had a videographer, a photographer, and 2 of us, and him with a big diamond ring in his hand. And so she turned around, and this is what she heard.
Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. For I can't help falling in love with you.
Needless to say, she said yes. Here's an Everly Brothers song you probably know.
Dream, 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 dream when I'm with you in the night, and I want you to hold me tight whenever I want you. All I have to do is dream, 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 dream when I need you. Your charms whenever I want you. All I have to do is dream. I can make you mine, taste your lips of wine anytime, night or day. Only trouble is, she lives, I'm dreaming my life away. I need you so that I could die. I love you so, and that is why whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. I can make you mine, taste your lips of wine anytime,
given my life away. I need you so that I could die. I love you so, and that is why whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream, 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 dream. All right, do we have country music fans here? No? Well, I happen to love country music, and I particularly like the titles of country songs because they can be pretty crazy. A lot of them are about breakups or relationships going wrong. One such song was a fellow who thought his wife was cheating on him, and the title of the song is "She's Acting Single, I'm Drinking Doubles." There's another one about a breakup, a divorce actually, and the fellow was not too happy with the settlement. And the song's called "She Got the Gold Mine, I Got the Shaft." And who can forget, they can put me in prison, but they can't stop my face from breaking out. And my personal favorite, there ain't enough room in my Fruit of the Looms to hold all my lovin' for you. For the longest time.
Thank you.
Longest for the longest time. Longest for the longest time.
If you said goodbye to me tonight, there would still be music left to write. What else could I do? I'm so inspired by you. That hasn't happened for the longest time. Once I thought my innocence was gone. Now I know that happiness goes on. That's where you found me when you put your arms around me. I haven't been there for the longest time. Maybe this will last very long, but you feel so right, and I could be wrong. Maybe I've been hoping too hard, but I've gone this far, and it's more than I hoped for. Who knows how much longer this goes on? Maybe I'll be sorry when you're gone. I'll take my chances. I fought my life's romances. I haven't been there for the longest time. I had second thoughts from the start. I said to myself, hold on to your heart. Now I know the woman that you are. You're wonderful so far, and it's more than I hoped for. I don't know what consequence it brings. I have been a few for other things. I want you so bad. I think you ought to know that I intend to hold you for the longest time. Just for the longest time. Just for the longest time. Just for the longest time. Longest for the longest time.
We are also part of a barbershop chorus called the Scarborough Dukes of Harmony. It's been around for a very long time. Last November, the Scarborough Dukes of Harmony had a cabaret, and we were performing at that cabaret. And the theme of the cabaret was Broadway. So they wanted a lot of Broadway songs. So here's some of the Broadway songs that we sang for that show. Yeah, they were from Oliver, Cabaret, and The Lion King, all three great big Broadway shows. Now, we're going to try to sing all these three songs without anybody saying anything, but I'm willing to bet these two guys that we won't get through without Peter stepping up to the mic and wanting to blabble on about something. So let's give it a try. Anyway.
Welcome aboard, pull up a chair, we're glad to see you here. Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself just one of the family. We've taken to you so strong, it's clear we're going to get along. Consider yourself well in. Consider yourself as part of the furniture. There is no one to spare. Who cares? Whatever we have, we share. Nobody tries to be la-di-da, uppity. There's a cup of tea for all. Only it's wise to be handy with a rolling pin when the landlord comes to call. Consider yourself our maid. We don't have no fuss, for after some consideration we can stay. Consider yourself one of us. Because your chance to be wishes in some harder days, empty harder days. White grouse, always a chance we'll meet somebody who will fit the bill. Then the drinks are on the house. Consider yourself our maid. We don't have no fuss, for after some consideration we can stay. Consider yourself one of us. Consider yourself one of us. 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 Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. No, don't hesitate. Why not drive all your cares away? What good is sitting alone in your room? Come hear the music play. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come to the cabaret. Hey, put down the knitting, the book and the brew. Time for a holiday. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come to the cabaret. Come taste the wine, come hear the band. Come blow the horn, start celebrating. Right this way, your table's ready. You'll use for maybe some profit of food to wipe every smile away, away. Well, life is a cabaret, old chum. Come to the cabaret. Come taste the wine. Come hear the band's grand.
ago, I was watching a special on televangelists. And they were talking first about Oral Roberts. You may remember Oral. He was big in the 1980s and the 1990s. And they talked about the books that he wrote, and particularly, they spoke about the third book that Oral wrote. Because it was in his third book that Oral Roberts talked about the day that he met Jesus. And I was thinking to myself, you know, if I met Jesus, I think that would be in my first book. And then they started talking about Jimmy Swaggart. You may remember Jimmy. He was involved in a bit of a scandal in Palm Springs one night. He was photographed going into a motel room with the lady of the evening. And it was quite the scandal, and people wondered what's going to happen. Is his son going to take over the ministry? And so Jimmy called a press conference, and he said, "I talked to God last night." Jimmy always sounded like he was crying. And he said, "I talked to God last night, and he told me to continue the ministry." And I thought, you know, if Jimmy talks to God at night, maybe he should have talked to him that night in Palm Springs. God could have said, "I don't know about you, Jimmy, but she looks like a hooker to me."
There's a calm surrender to the rush of day, when the heat of the rolling world can be turned away. An enchanted moment, and it sees me through. It's enough for this restless warrior just to be with you. And can you feel the love tonight, tonight? It is where we are. It's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer that we come this far. And can you feel the love tonight, tonight? How it's laid to rest. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe the very best. There's a time for everyone, if they'd only learn that the twisting kaleidoscope moves us all in turn. There's a rhyme and reason to the wild outdoors. When the heart of this Star Wars Roger beats a time of yours, then can you feel the love tonight, tonight? It is where we are. It's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer that we come this far. Can you feel the love tonight, tonight? How it's laid to rest. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe the very best. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe the very best.
another Everly Brothers duet for you.
I'll never let you see the way my broken heart is hurting me. I've got my pride and I know how to hide all my sorrow and pain. I'll do my crying in the rain. If I wait for cloudy skies, you won't know the rain from the tears in my eyes. You'll never know that I still love you so, though the heartaches remain. I'll do my crying in the rain. Raindrops fall from heaven, could never wash away my misery.
But since we're not together, I'll look for stormy weather to hide the tears I hope you'll never see.
Someday when my cry is done, I'm gonna wear a smile and walk in the sun. I'll never be a fool, but till then, mother, you never see me complain. I'll do my crying in the rain. I'll do my crying in the rain. I'll do my crying in the rain.
You folks probably don't realize this, but a lot of people, when they get older, their memories start to deteriorate. And I know, not you guys, but it happened to my dad a few years ago, and he was really concerned, so he went to the doctor. And the doctor said, just carry a pen and a pad around, and when there's something important you want to remember, just write it down. So he thought that was a good idea, and a few nights later he's watching TV with Mom, and he said at one point, I'm gonna go to the kitchen and get myself some ice cream. And Mom said, well, could you get me a bowl too? And he said, sure. And she says, well, could you put a little chocolate syrup on mine? He says, okay. And she said, maybe you want to write that down. And he said, the kitchen's right over here. Ice cream, chocolate syrup, no problem. And she said, okay, and can you add a few nuts on top? He says, ice cream, chocolate syrup, nuts. Okay. She says, you sure you don't want to write that down? He says, no, I got it. And as he's about to go in the kitchen, she said, hey, can you just pop a maraschino cherry on top of all that? And he says, okay, no problem at all. He goes to the kitchen, and my mom starts to hear rattling of pots and pans, and 10 minutes later, he comes back with a beautiful plate of bacon and eggs. And my mom says, I knew you'd mess it up. And my dad says, what's the problem? And she said, you forgot the toast.
Here's another barbershopper.
Heart of my heart, I love you. Life would be naught without you. Light of my life, my darling, I love you. I love you. I can forget you never. From you I never can sever. Say you'll be mine forever. I love you.
Okay, do we have any newlyweds in the audience? Hands up, any newlyweds? Anyone celebrating an anniversary? You don't want to make this easy for me, do you? Okay, actually, what is your name? Suzanne, and gentleman in the green? Kevin. Suzanne, Kevin, someone told me you're newlyweds. Is that correct? It is. Great. We're going to dedicate this song to the newlyweds, Suzanne and Kevin.
Last night alone on our way home, he turned and said to me, I love you so, and I want to know, what do you think about me, about me? Sweet and lovely, that's what you are to me. Sugar and spice and everything nice. You're all a girl should be, should be. Soon we'll marry, you'll be my blushing bride. I will smile all the while you're by my side. I will smile all the while you're by my side.
Okay, I promised we'd do Let Me Call You Sweetheart again, so everybody check your lyrics and let's do it.
Do you all have the words? Okay. This time we expect you to sing along.
Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. Let me hear you whisper that you love me too. Keep the love like glowing in your eyes so true. Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. Let me call you sweetheart, I'm in love with you. In love with you. How do we do that there? Everybody sing?
Okay, so now a little Beach Boys.
Ba 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 baran, 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 ba 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 baran. You got me rocking and a rolling, rocking and a reeling, ba baran, ba 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 baran. Went to a dance looking for romance, saw Barbara Ann, so I thought I'd take a chance with Barbara Ann, ba 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 baran, ba 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 baran. You got me rocking and a rolling, rocking and a reeling, Barbara Ann, ba 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 baran. Tried Betty Sue, tried Mary Lou, tried Peggy Sue, but I knew they wouldn't do like Barbara Ann, ba 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 baran, ba 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 baran. You got me rocking and a rolling, rocking and a reeling, Barbara Ann, ba 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 baran, ba 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 baran. You got me rocking and a rolling, rocking and a reeling, Barbara Ann, ba 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 baran.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Snap, what a happy sound. Snap is the happiest sound I found. You may rap, tap, clap, slap, but snap makes the world go round. Snap.
I say it's crackle, the crispy sound. You gotta have crackle or the clock's not wound. Geese gaggle, feathers tickle, bells buckle, beats speakle, but crackle makes the world go round.
Snap.
Crackle.
Now I insist that pop's the sound. You get it's mixed with pops around. You can't stop popping when the cereal's popping. Pop makes the world go round.
Snap.
Crackle.
Pop.
With a spoonful of sugar and some milk, you'll see how delightfully delectable your breakfast can be while you listen to this happy little symphony. It's Snap.
I insist that a house be sound. The bestiest pops around. You can't stop popping when the cereal's pop, but snap, pop makes the world go round.
Snap.
Pop, snap, crackle, pop, snap, crackle, pop, Rice Krispies. Who remembers that commercial?
I can't believe how fast this time has gone. It's been such a pleasure singing to you, and well, the time has really flown, and we've come to our last song. And a couple of months ago, our lead, James, where is he? Here. He came to us and said, you know, I love jazz, and we don't sing any jazz songs. And if you guys don't find a jazz tune, I'm finding another quartet. And, you know, some people might consider this blackmail, but we don't, do we, guys? Here's our jazz tune.
I was walking along, minding my business, when out of an orange-colored sky, flash, bam, alakazam, wonderful you are I. I was humming a tune, drinking in sunshine, when out of an orange-colored cue, wham, bam, alakazam, I got a look at you. One look and I get out timber. Watch out for flying glass. When the ceiling fell in and the bottom fell out, I went into a spin and I started a shot of an hit. This is it, this is it,
This is it.
I was walking along, minding my business when love came and hit me in the eye. Flash, bam, alakazam, out of an orange-colored purple stripe. Great big polka dot sky, flash, bam, alakazam, and goodbye, goodbye.
We are Quattro, Peter Martina, James Gilbert, Andre Ryder, and I'm Rob Siddall. See you later. Bye.